we dropped Go.
We dropped Go.
I know we said we're
First single.
not going to talk specifically about it a lot, but yeah, it's out. It's fucking sick.
It's a big milestone for us. First release, one of the first songs we ever did, and now it's go time.
Yeah, well, it's been go time.
The rest of the year is going to be crazy. Like, I think for me, although I love Go and Go is great, it's got a special place in my heart. We've heard it a lot of times, and it's going to be nice for us to move on and flex creatively, make new tunes, get forward, but still stream Go, run it up, help support us.
100%.
But yeah, sick start.
Yeah, it's definitely not the tune that I've been like most excited about releasing, but just the process of getting the song out has been like something that I've been really looking forward to and very excited about. So yeah, like way more to come, and I think we've just like set the standard, and we are now going to exceed the standard with the following drops.
Any learnings from Go? Anything that you wish we did differently, or anything that you're like especially happy about the way that we did it? In every aspect of the rollout.
Admin stuff, it's just teething problems for us, or for me anyway. I think that one thing which is key is, the admin stuff, which is by definition not going to happen again, because it's things like the artist profile being ready on time, or us having the analytics or whatever.
Yeah.
But we kind of knew that anyway, that the first release is going to have some teething issues and some delays. I think that something that was a bit of an oversight potentially, which we are addressing instantly, but something to bear in mind moving forward, is that we did quite a lot of videos for the Go build up and the rollout, and then as soon as it was released, we kind of realized, oh shit, this is actually the time when we need to be boosting it, because it's out and we want as many people to hear it. So I think because in our head we'd geared up towards ABP, A Bitter Pill, our next project, and started to think about that, our heads from a content point of view were there.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a bit of an oversight for us. Nothing which is irretrievable now, but
Now it's all fucked, mate. We have
it's
to
all
start
fucked.
again.
Yeah,
Just
let's
throw
delete
it in the
it.
bin.
What should we go back to cryptids?
Is that
The green needles.
the Green Needles? That's a good band name.
What, the brainstorms?
Yeah, the Brainstorm.
This is terrible.
It's such a bad name. That's so jokes.
So you don't, creatively, anything that you guys would have done differently to do with Go from a content perspective, from a sonic perspective?
Nah.
We've been so
Happy.
happy.
I think you're
That's the
both
thing.
just very happy to have Go in the rear view mirror. Not to say that the song
Nice.
is like,
Pick up my phone and my wallet and my keys
Gone.
and go.
yeah, not to say that you were
What
like,
would you say? Gone.
Gone.
Yeah, nice.
obviously the song is out. We're very happy. We're very proud of it. Continue to run it up. Listen to it. Share it with your friends.
I'm listening to it, Bear.
But yeah, to your point, Mayflay, like, god damn, I've heard it so many times. I am like a bit sick of it.
Yeah.
A little bit, just like, especially with the other projects, everything we've got in the pipeline, ABP, then the other two projects coming out after that. Like, I'm way more excited for those all to come out than this one single. But obviously, it's very important that this has come out. So
Yeah, I think it needed to be like this was almost just like a necessary, not like a necessary evil because there's nothing bad about it.
Yeah,
but, like,
I know what you mean.
Kind
But
of
that
just
is the wrong way. It's like,
you kind of just had to go through the motions.
we're
with this
playing the
song
game.
and get it out there and do it. It's a bit like, okay, cool, brush your teeth, floss. Like it's just that kind
of
of
course,
like
it has to come back to teeth with you.
I had
Yeah.
we just had to do it, and I'm just glad that we did it, and
Yeah.
I'm happier for it that it's done. But yeah, onto bigger stuff, and because we're gonna go on holiday, feels like a little moment for another reset. Like you take these moments where it's like, okay, we're gonna go away. There's gonna be a slight shift in the Phantom process for about 2 weeks. And then when we come back, it's very much like, okay, cool, lock in again, like another lock in. And I think it's good timing for us that the single's out, we're gonna go away, we're gonna come back, and then it's gonna be all systems ABP for the next few months, which is gonna be so sick.
Are we happy to disclose specific times and dates of releases and stuff? I think we have kind of committed to a day of release
We're
for
thinking
ABP.
we're thinking March. I think we should just say March for the moment, and not be too specific on dates. Because dropping one song is one thing, but I think actually putting together a full project and releasing that and doing it to the level that we would like to do it to, there might be a slight little week or two delay here and there. But I think March, and if people don't know, ABP stands for A Bitter Pill. And those shrewd listeners will know that we dropped that in one of the tracks. So if you've been joining the lives, you might have heard me actually say that on one of the songs.
Icarus.
Time ain't borrowed. That's a bit of
bit
pill to swallow.
yeah, okay.
Late looking bear confused. You should
Yeah,
know
I
that, bro.
don't know. I couldn't remember what the
What are you-
bars, bro.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's
I
gonna
can't
be
remember them.
it's gonna be a busy couple weeks for me and a bit of a learning curve, I think. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it. Any suggestions from anyone, any of our regulars on how I should run the solo pods? I'll be keen to hear them as
Yeah,
well.
the solo stream. The pods
So,
were, yeah, yeah.
sorry, solo stream.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll have 2 Mayfly and Glue in the Stew and 2 regular streams, right?
Yeah. So
Cool.
it's gonna be
So
4.
I
You
gotta
need
hold
to
it
hold
down.
it down. We will probably
I think
call
we'll try.
in.
Yeah,
we'll try
and
dial
call
in. I
on
reckon
one of them.
in the next couple of days we'll try to
Yes.
figure out that
Check
whole
out
process.
like lag time and
Because it would be
stuff
so
like that.
sick if we could actually do a battle or something.
Yeah.
But equivalent where you go from the main account, we go from one of our accounts, and then we're like battling each other. That could be quite an interesting way to approach it. For
What are we gonna do? Like, I'm gonna be rapping, and Mayfly's just gonna turn the beat off, be like, "What I won."
Yeah.
Is that-
Try to do a
No, I don't
cappella.
know,
Yeah, I
whatever the-
play a really shit beat and you can't really get it right. And
Yeah,
then I'm like,
This guy's such a shit
look at
rapper.
this guy.
This guy's trash, bro. This guy's.
Well,
terrible.
let's do that. We need to check the lag time and stuff, but yeah, it would be good.
Yeah, sick. And then kind of tying in nicely to that, Adela's question: what is the most interesting project you're currently working on? Which I think is obviously there's like 3 projects that we're working on, and then also separate to just the music. Are there any things that we're working on that we would consider a project that we're excited about?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, great question. So maybe let's talk the actual projects, like the music projects
Yeah.
first, and then we can talk about some of the other stuff. So just to break it down, A Bitter Pill is the first like EP that we're planning on releasing in March, and then we have these other 2 projects that we're looking to drop later this year. Like that's the loose structure at the moment. And the other 2 projects, one's called The Ballad of Billy Grease, and then the other one is Love is a Drug and Drugs Are for Idiots. So out of those 3 projects, it's hard to say. I mean, I think for me, the one I'm most excited about overall is probably Love is a Drug, just because I think that is going to be the one which a lot of people connect with. I think the songwriting is deeper on that. I think the songs themselves, because they're more melodic and there's a lot of the singing coming from you guys as well, I think that one is just going to fly. And when you look at the track list, there are just so many hits on that one. A Ballad of Billy Grease is not quite as fleshed out. Like the concept is there, it's really strong. We initially wanted to just do 3 tracks, but now that we did, I keep forgetting the name of it. Time Will Tell.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Tell Me I'm Wrong. Now that we've got that beat,
Just
1,
think
2,
of her going, "Tell me I'm wrong."
yeah. Now that we've got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's like more tracks which are gonna go on a Ballad of Billy Grease. But yeah, for me, I'm most excited probably about Leah Gaddafi as we abbreviate it to. But all the projects are sick.
Even you talking about it now is giving me ideas of how that double EP can work conceptually, and I'm thinking what makes a lot of sense is to have the Ballad of Billy Grease being the bangers, the like crud tunes, the songs which sound good standalone, and then Love is a Drug and Drugs Are for Idiots is going to be a bit more of like a long play kind of vibe, like a bit more considered, a bit more of a body of work.
Yeah,
I think that's quite a good sort of A and B.
it feels more artistic.
Yeah, exactly. Bangers versus like credibility, or not credibility. But
Slightly more conceptual.
yeah, conceptual. Yeah, that's the word.
Because right now, A Ballad of Billy Grease, while there is the story behind it, and essentially what the story is like, I think we spoke about this before, where Billy Grease is like this alter ego who's just more brash and more over the top, and like your classic kind of like ballied up roadman trapper aesthetic. But it is very much just like hits, like big tunes without really having too much of a story behind it. Love is a Drug, I think when we were kind of writing the tracks out on the whiteboard and trying to order them, we are telling a story in terms of the order of the songs and the way that the project flows. So yeah, I agree. I think it is just that much more conceptual. And those songs, I think we've had them for longer as well. So I'm a bit...
Which ones?
The Love is a Drug.
Okay.
Those songs we've had for longer, so I'm a bit more...
Than Billy Grease, yeah. Oh yeah, we have.
way longer. So I'm a bit more, like I've sat with them a lot longer, and I feel like we've...
Not all of them.
established them quite well. I mean, essentially all of them. The writing for most of them is quite old. The only one that we haven't got on there, which is newer, is Coming Back to Me, which we might put on it, but I haven't written anything to that. But in terms of songwriting, those songs are quite old. All the Billy Grease songs are like pretty recent.
So would you say the Billy
are,
Grease tunes are much more disjointed? There's no like story. It really is just like more surface level. Like what you hear is what you get. You don't really have to think about it. It's not like a, I don't know, like a Kendrick album where there's like clearly a story that you have to follow. Like as you listen to it, you're being taken on a journey through whatever he's trying to convey. Where Ballad of Billy Grease is very much just like, it's a banger. Listen to it. Pump it in your car. That's it. You don't really need to give it too much more thought beyond that.
I think for Ballad of Billy Grease, I think the consistency lies with the concept, which means that there doesn't need to be as much of a storyline throughout. The concept is that this is the alter ego. It lets grade. I think that alter ego might even be, alter ego is the right word, but I think that what is, correct me if I'm wrong, but what is great about all the Billy Grease like possibilities is that you're also exploring that side of your own character. You know, it's not like you putting yourself as a roadman. It's like, no, some of the stuff you're talking about, you allegedly have done.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly, you know?
Yeah,
And so I think that is a concept which I think as we flesh out Billy Grease a bit more, right now it's only got 3 tracks, but if we had a couple more tracks on there, that's where we start to...
I think it's got 4 or 5, but yeah, anyway.
Oh, it's only got 3 written on
Written on the board, yeah.
So yeah, so as time goes on, then I think when you try to, for example, with the first project, there are a few tracks which we wrote with the intention to tie stuff together on there. You know, there's a few tracks which have lyrics from other songs, for example, or we look at the track list and go, right, what does this need now? What would be a good song to be in here now? You know, and I think that's what Billy Grease kind of gives. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but gives you an opportunity to put a different thinking hat on.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of the time with writing, we were talking about this, I think, on the lyric breakdown as well. It's like you want to find that sweet spot where it's like lyrically interesting, but also it's just catchy and it's just a bit of a hit, like it's just a bit of a banger. And with the Billy Grease stuff, it's more so that, okay, the freedom to kind of say something which is a bit more tongue-in-cheek, a little bit more simplistic, but catchy. And I don't have to overthink the lyrics. Like, I think for me, there's a lot of pressure when I'm writing to be like, oh, super cerebral, like, you know, you've slated yourself as this like really intense lyrical kind of rapper. And, you know, once Go is out, which it is, and then once ABP is out, we would have set a level of lyricism, which is like, okay, now you have to maintain this or you have to better
Pressure
this.
from who? Who's giving that pressure?
Well, I think, you know,
Is
like,
that self-imposed?
well, you know, there's this whole thing like sophomore syndrome where it's like, okay, your first thing that you do, your first season as a football player or your first album is great. And then, okay, how do you follow up? There's going to be expectation where it has to be, you know, if you're worse on your second than on your first, people are going to be like, oh, what? These guys are falling off. So you want to maintain and elevate, really.
Do you have any examples of like somebody whose second project was just like way worse than their first and it like stands out to you?
Well, okay, I do right now. I probably can't think of a specific project, but let's look at, for
I think
example.
the
I guess that's the
reason-
point though.
Hold on.
I
Let
think
me
the
just
reason you can't remember them is because those artists
exactly.
came and went.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And thinking about now, somebody like SD Kid, yeah, who has got this huge following behind him off of this one big tape that he dropped. Basically, he's going to be under extreme pressure to deliver on the second thing.
Yeah, it's gonna
Now.
have to be bangers.
Yeah, and if it's even slightly less, or he doesn't have one tune like Phantom, his 40 million whatever monthly listeners will just start falling off because the expectation is so high and he got so big so quick. So coming back to what
40 million.
I don't know what it is. That's
Jeez.
I'm not
It's
sure.
way higher than that. It's like 100 million.
That's insane.
He's got higher numbers than NBA YoungBoy.
Whoa, he's okay.
For
Yeah,
a UK rapper, do you know
yeah,
how crazy
that's
that
mad.
is?
That is insane.
So with Billy Grease, it's like, okay, actually, because we've got the concept down as like, it's a bit more, I have the license to not worry so much about the songwriting from a lyrical perspective being like really deep, because we're going to do a double like the goal is to do a double EP. So you have like the one project which is a bit more laid back with the Billy Grease stuff, which I still think is sick, by the way. Like some of our best work is going to be on that tape. But then conceptually, the Love is a Drug project will have the writing. So it's good for me. Like it's good for me because we have them both, and people will listen to Billy Grease and be like, oh well, Bricklayer is like a stupid song compared to how deep your writing was on Icarus. But that's kind of the point, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like the whole song, the whole album is, it's not a joke, but it kind of is a bit silly.
It's tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Or do you remember when we were on a live and we just happened to be playing Bricklayer, which we never ever do live, and then someone asked you about like how do you write your lyrics, and then you were like, well, just listen, just take it like this song for example, and then I think both of us realised as soon as you said that, like, oh fuck, this has got the least lyrical content, and then you said something like, this is just about me being a boss and just like laying bare bricks.
Yeah, for Bricklayer.
We just went turned away like this.
Yeah, it was
So
jokes.
peak.
It's because somebody asked about a song where, literally the bars. There's no more meaning to the bars than what you hear. It literally is that.
Which,
You
and
don't-
I love songs like
you don't have to. Sometimes you don't want to think about it. You just want to be
Yeah.
like, damn, he is just flexing. Like somebody is just flexing on you right now. And
Remember
that's it.
2016? Remember that era where like Migos were on top and
Yeah.
like Fetty Wap and all that shit just sounded good.
It sounds good.
And
It doesn't
was just
mean
like
anything.
it was like flash in the pan, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It was like low maintenance. It was just like.
By the
that
way,
was a
SD
good-
Kid has 22 million monthly listeners.
On,
Oh, really?
on
On
Spotify.
Spotify.
So probably total, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pushing numbers.
Yeah, that is mental. But then off of the back of that as well, Mayfly, do you think that the production on Ballad of Billy Grease, is it the same approach that Grade is taking with the lyrics where it's you can produce in a different way and like explore different aspects of your production world, or is it kind of the same across all the projects?
No, there are definitely beats that I make. First of all, I don't ever, this is not for me how you make good beats. I don't ever go, right, I'm going to make this. I'm going to make a song where Grade is going to talk about this and I'm going to do this. I just make what pours out, just what happens in the moment. Then after that, it's about me or Grade, usually Grade, going, listening to, or sometimes I'll interject, but listening to it and going, I think this is a Billy song.
Yeah, this is what it
I think it's a
feels
Billy
like.
song, and I go, or I'll go, no, 100% not. I don't want this to be a Billy song.
Yeah.
And that's happened a few times where you've been like, I think this is Billy, and I'm like, or I'm like, no, it's definitely Billy. It
How
is
do you guys
definitely
land
Billy.
on that? What's the kind of
Gut
process?
feeling? Gut feeling. Don't talk about it for longer than a sentence.
Basically.
Really, it's just like you hear it and you're like, this sounds like Billy would flex on
If
it.
either of us had a gut feeling strong way one way or another, it would just be that. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's right. If I said, for example, I think this is Billy, you'd go, okay, cool.
Yeah, it sounds
And
like
vice
that.
versa. If you go, I think this isn't going to be Billy, I go, cool.
Yeah. So you're not, not precious around it, but specifically, you don't produce in a different way for a Billy song, and you don't go into it with the understanding that this is going to be a Billy song. Whereas for you, because you're writing to a beat, the creative process has kind of been kicked off by Mayfly, and then you would land and think, okay, this can be a Billy tune. Let me write in a certain way.
Yeah, exactly. I never think that Mayfly's producing with anything particular in mind. It's very much just like you say, it's just whatever comes out. But then when it comes to like structuring projects or thinking about things, I mean, for the longest time, even when, from 5-10 years ago, I have had like projects or in my notes app being like,
Still do.
this is where this is going to go and this is where this is going to go. And then, projects we haven't talked about where I hear a song that we've done and I'm like, I think that'll fit here. Because conceptualizing the sound when it comes to the kind of music we make, the directive of it is kind of driven by the lyrics more so. Like when you're picking out the songs, I think that the song concept is driven by what I've said rather than the beat itself. Like the beat could be anything. We could take it one direction or the other. But once we've got a lyrical kind of identity behind the song, it's like, okay, this is where this tune is going to live. And like compiling the tracks together has been a process which I say I've kind of driven a bit more so just because of the writing. And again, bearing in mind, a lot of the stuff that we've made for these future projects has spanned a few different years. So I think Mayfly goes through phases of production where it's like, now I'm doing, I'm producing like this. It's very sample heavy and I'm pulling a lot of samples and I'm living within a specific kind of tempo. You know, I'm feeling this current BPM. And more recently, we spoke about on the other pod where it's like, I like these Detroit sounds and I'm going to be putting this. So you get kind of eras of Mayfly's production, but those eras don't necessarily match up with the eras of the songs that we release.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So if you go back and we listen to some of Mayfly's old beats that we won't have on the future projects, some of them are like super, super vocal sample heavy, but we're not doing that as much currently. And, you know, wherever we take the direction of the individual projects is more so going to be dictated by, okay, what have I actually decided to say on this particular track?
And I think to piggyback on from what you're saying, I think that something which would make it confusing for people to work out when things were dated is that, like you said, if I have, for example, the Detroit influence is only something in the last 2 years that I've started doing. If we end up putting like one of the old songs on Ballad of Billy Greaves or Liada Daffy, Love is a Drug and Drugs Are for Idiots, I would usually, if I'm reading up that beat, take some elements in there to modernize it a little bit, you know, use my newer sounds, swap out all the kicks, and in turn it might naturally progress that I do want that newer clap in there, I do want that little laser sound, whatever. So I think that there's always a way where there's a process of us. I think the process usually would be like, beat gets made, you get influenced, bars get made, we try them together, work out what doesn't work, what does work, change up the whole beat. Then the basis of this song might inform another song as well. Right, we've said this and got this here, we need to do something else on this next one. I think that's pretty much the crux of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. And then just, for example, with Love is a Drug, we kind of fleshed out some songs initially, and like one of them was Best in Season, and we knew for sure that that was going to be on this project. Like, it just felt like this song with the singing, with the subject matter, felt like it landed on that project. And then, you know, more recently we've changed the beat, but that song's quite old. Then further down the line, I wrote Shotgun. And on Shotgun, like Mayfly mentioned earlier, there's a bit of intertextuality where I say, okay, yeah, they heard I'm the best in season, man, I can't wait for season 2. So it's like, okay, now I'm tying the project together a little bit more because we kind of know, okay, these songs are going to live together and they're going to join together. A track that we're not releasing, but we were thinking about putting on A Bitter Pill, called 1-2. One of the verses literally name dropped all of the tracks on the project, and it was designed in a way that, okay, this is going to be the final track. So you do piece together projects. I mean, at least I do. I try to think, okay, how can we make it a bit more conceptual without suffering through it? Because I think when I think about conceptual albums, it's really, really hard to do well. I think Kendrick's great at it.
Yeah.
Like Good Kid, Mad City is a very clear like movie structure. It's a story, you're following it. Damn had the whole play it backwards, play it forwards thing. To try and do something like that really well, it must take so much effort and must be really difficult to do. So my goal of making our stuff just a little bit more cerebral, a little bit more conceptual is, okay, let's just try and quote things, or let's just try and pull from different projects to tie things together, give it a bit more of a theme. And that's why, like, I'm super looking forward to, Love is a Drug. I think that one's gonna fly.
So if you guys have to rank them in order, obviously none of it is out yet, but 3 projects in order, what would you say is your...
And you're making me pick from my kids, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
What
You love them all equally, but rank them 1 through 3.
In what sense?
The ones that you like the most.
Thing is, look, it's hard to say because two out of 3 of these projects are not really, they only exist kind of in our heads. Like, obviously we've got the songs, but
They're not finalized.
yeah.
It's very close. I think you're not giving yourselves enough credit for quite how fleshed out all of them are. Like, with this much work, and for audio listeners, I'm holding my fingers very close together.
5%, yeah.
It's like 5% work left before you're like, yeah, this is done.
Yeah.
So
For me, there's there's just one song which means the Ballad of Billy Greaves is my favourite.
Yeah, and I know that too. Mayfly thinks it's our best song.
really,
Yeah.
Here we go.
You think Here We Go is the best song we've made?
Yeah.
Damn,
I think Here We Go has that sweet spot
hard
of,
disagree.
of
I think it's sick, by the way. Just for context, I think the tune you're talking about is fucking sick.
It's just
not my favorite.
It's just
yeah.
the kind of music I like the most.
Yeah.
It's a banger. It's faster. It's got
it's got that mainstream appeal as well, which I think will do really, really well for us. And it is just a bit of a slapper. Like when I hear that, it gasses me up. And we were talking about production style that you enjoy more so recently, which is a bit more up tempo, a bit more of a, you can listen to this at the gym, you can bang it in the whip. I'd be inclined to say my favorite project is probably going to be Love is a Drug. I'd probably put that first. But I'm going to say Billy Greaves as a second because of the absolute hits. And I'll probably put ABP as my third favorite, even though King is going to be on that.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. King is on it. Witch is on it. Those are two absolute thumpers. You've then got Lament, which also
yeah. I mean, the thing is we're maybe a bit biased. Not maybe bias is the wrong word, but similar to Go, it's like it's a recency
yeah,
bias.
it
It is a recency bias, and it's us being too close to it and having heard these songs so much.
Yeah.
I'm probably most excited about that because I just love Here We Go, and we created it fairly recently, like in the grand scheme of things.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For me though, like I keep going on about Love is a Drug, but I just think it's the best showcase of our overall talent. Like what you're gonna get on ABP is primarily me from the vocal performance with some of Mayfly in the background. The only one where you're kind of taking a bit more of a lead on it is Lament. Like that's the clear sung hook. But the rest, I'm doing the majority of the tracks. Love is a Drug, I just think will have that balance and that showcase of what we can bring. And there's for sure hits on that, but it's just more of a flex of, okay, we've got melody, we've got vocals, we've got different styles, and I think it will connect with people more. I know it's a bit corny and it's a bit cliche, but love songs just do really well.
Yeah.
And people feel them. Like yesterday.
I mean, we're getting that feedback on the lives where
Table
people are
for
literally
Two.
talking about like, this actually feels like a heartbreak song. It's reminding me of this specific scenario in my life. And we've got, I'm not going to bait anybody out, but they're talking about like, oh, I'm going to like message my ex after this.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like, oh, don't do that.
And that's the power of those kind of songs.
Yeah.
But I don't really think anybody's going to hear, like, Here We Go and have an emotional moment.
I think the emotional moment will be, oh, this is fucking sick, and like, let me get gassed up and like energized, rather than being like, oh, let me mellow out a little bit and really start thinking and getting into my head about scenarios in my life.
Do you know what it is? When we were talking about, for example, marketing and trying to work out, okay, how do we get people to engage? And there's all these like dark psychological tricks that people do for like marketing. And one of the big things that we were talking about is how negative things get loads of engagement and positive things don't really get as much. So songs about pain and about heartbreak, I just think people will latch
People
on
will resonate
to
with that
maybe
as well.
maybe longer term. Whereas like a Ballad of Billy Greaves and a Here We Go, I'm sure people will still listen to it in the future, but it's a little bit more like flash in the pan. Like it'll be hot for
Throwaways.
for now. Yeah,
yeah.
it'll and I still think it'll be good in the future, but something tells me people will go back and listen to like Table for Two or Shotgun or Amphetamines. I mean, these are all like I just think they're sick songs.
Yeah,
I think it goes back to an earlier question from a previous pod where I said I listen to music much more for the sonics, the actual sound, and that's why I listen to foreign music as well and instrumental stuff. Like all my favorite artists are pretty much producers. I think that's probably why I veer more towards Here We Go. Because I think if you don't know what Grade's saying, if it's a different language, I think it just sounds sick. It just gives you energy. It just
I think the same thing is true for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
where,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
even I don't know the bars for that yet. Like you just spit it one time, and I was like, okay, I don't really know exactly what you're saying, and I'm catching the bars every time we perform it. But still, there's just like an energy, and I think that's the perfect complement between the production and the bars, and everybody's just getting hyped on the track to be like, yeah, this is fucking sick, and the energy keeps ramping and ramping and ramping until the performance is done, and then everybody's like, okay, holy shit. And half of the people in our live are like, I have no idea like what the hell you said, but do it again because it just energized me so much.
Yeah.
So for you, Mayfly, your ranking would be Billy Grease, Leah Gaddafi, ABP?
Probably not. I probably just wanted to make a point. That I
Oh, just
really
like,
like.
I really like Here We Go.
Well, it's not got enough tracks on it for it to, like, I'm looking at it, would be unfair to put it above the other two. The
Yeah.
other two have had so much more time and effort and energy put into them. It's probably a bitter pill, to be honest.
What is the best?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, based on where it is,
No, it's the second, it's Leah Gaddafi.
is the best,
Leah
right?
Gaddafi is the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. I genuinely think that's going to be the one that
No, it's Here We Go.
Yeah, no, I think it's Billy Grease actually.
that does really well for us. And I think people will connect with it. I really do think people will connect with
I
it.
hope so.
We hope so
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, I imagine so. I
Yeah,
imagine people
yeah,
are
yeah,
already
yeah.
connecting with it. So like, as the tracks come out and as people hear it, people will resonate with different things, and that's the beauty of doing these lives. Is we perform a song and some people are like, oh, I really like this one, and then we have the haters who join and they're like, this is all shit, and then we perform a song and they're like, oh, that one actually is pretty good, and you're like, yeah, okay, got you. Now we know what sound you like.
Get out of here.
Exactly, and they're like, okay, fuck, well, I suppose I can't hate anymore because they performed a song that I'm a fan of now. So
One thing that I would say is what we haven't done yet, which I've been desperate to do, and it's in the pipeline, is to do some live shows. And I'd also like to do some live shows in like 6 months to a year when people actually know who we are and we're a bit more established and people know the lyrics.
Oh, too soon come.
Yeah, exactly. Because I kind of trying to visualize, okay, we're on stage and people are singing along. What are people going to sing along with? They're probably going to sing along more so with the melodic sung hooks, like
Yeah,
the
100%,
Mayfly hooks.
of course they
more
will.
so than no one's gonna fucking rap along to Witch with me.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
maybe like
yeah.
one guy in the front row is gonna know it bar for bar, but no one else is gonna be. People aren't gonna be like
I don't know,
vibing with it as
people
much.
might, you know.
Everyone would use it. Hop up in the whip.
Yeah, but I guess that is a slower tempo, and so people can catch that.
Yeah.
But like,
Than which?
Or
I
they'll
think it's just 'cause
they'll
it-
catch the certain bars.
yeah, it has more bounce to it, whereas Witch is just like
It's
you've got like
relentless.
3
Yeah, yeah,
minutes of like it's just relentless. There's no respite. You're just like, holy shit, there's bars. Here we go. And
Oh,
you can
there's
like,
bars.
oh, he's barring. yeah, I agree.
Here we go. There's those moments where there's just those catchy lines that I think people will latch onto, and there are some lines like that in Witch as well. That's what I've been more conscious of in my writing of late. Is like, okay, let's drop a bar here that people will like be like, yeah, I'm gonna rap that one when I hear it, or that's the one that people are gonna put into the TikTok clip, not because we think that we have to make music for that, but those little moments are what people will remember. Like that'll
for
be
sure.
what gasses them up. Straight petty in the whip, I don't charge it.
Yeah,
Like
come
that's
on.
just like one of those lines where it's like, yeah, people are gonna wanna say that one.
Yeah, agree.
sure.
And I think kind of tying in everything we've spoken about and taking a step back beyond just music inspirations, who are inspirations or like role models for how you like in life, I guess, and how that then ties back into music. So I don't want you to say like Kanye is an inspiration. It's quite a difficult question.
Yeah.
Who inspires you outside of the music space, and how can you tie that back into music?
Okay.
Basically, I've just hot potatoed an impossible question.
No, it's
to
fine.
you.
I'll go for it straight away. One is Grade for me.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's a sick guy and always been an influence for me.
Bro.
Outside of
What the fuck?
music
What
stuff.
about Glue, bro? No,
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah,
shit
and
about the
Glue's here as well.
Glue also is present.
Glue's there. He's alright. He's sitting on a chair. But for me, my ones are gonna be a bit more bit part, and like I don't really, similar to how I said I don't really have a favorite artist. I don't really get obsessed with like one person. I like taking little bits of information from everywhere. So there are lots of people who I respect so much, and some of their teachings I use every single day, but I don't agree with even 50% of what they say. You know what I mean? So I'm very spiritual. So a lot of those people for me are people like Daryl Anker and Eckhart Tolle, and
nice.
I think like a lot of older sort of, I mean, people who've passed away, like people like Tesla and I don't know, just like old, like either quantum physicists, people who are on searches for mad, like forbidden knowledge almost, or esoteric knowledge, like people who think differently outside the box. There's random ones like fucking Tony Robbins and people like that, you know?
Oh, is that the
Motivational.
Yeah, he's
Just people like that, you know? Dr. Joe Spinoza, like there's yeah.
That's a good answer.
There's
Man.
loads,
You gave a load of people there. I thought fully that it was. I was just
Joe
going to potato
Dispenza,
you.
Joe Dispenza, sorry.
Yeah.
So my one,
You have to say Mayfly as well.
I refuse. So when we were in primary school in our final year, so in the UK that's year 6, we had to do a presentation on somebody that inspired us. And at the time, you've got to imagine, like, these are just like 10 and 11-year-olds. So loads of people were coming up and doing presentations about their parents or like a footballer or something.
Grade.
Or something like that. But at the time, I must have been 10 years old. I did my presentation on Da Vinci.
Nice.
And the reason why I really rate the concept of Leonardo da Vinci is because he just was not boxed into one specific thing. He was very much like a polymath and a Renaissance man in the truest sense, where it's like, okay, he's an inventor, a painter, a philosopher. He had many strings to his bow. And I just conceptually thought that was the sickest thing ever, to not be like shoehorned into a specific thing. And that's kind of how I've tried to live my life as much as possible, to be like, okay, so I have this career outside of music, which is a high level profession. The musical skill, the creativity to write and to make these songs, and obviously I require the assistance of Mayfly and others to do that. Then on top of that, it's like the physical health and the spiritual health and the reading and enjoying like what life has to offer and knowing about food and just being
Becoming a truly well-rounded individual.
Exactly
That's the whole goal, isn't
It's
it?
not even like him being well-rounded is an understatement as well, because he was like top level in history in most of those things, which is crazy. Da Vinci was apparently like spiritually awake and channeling.
Yeah. And one of the big things that he said about his life was that he kind of regrets not doing even more.
Yeah.
Like he feels as though he just kind of went through life and he could have probably contributed so much more to society. And it's mad to think that we're talking about this guy who I don't even know what century was about in, but however many hundreds of years later is still like on people's lips in terms of somebody that they're inspired by. To think that he could have done more in his life and he was just a bit lazy compared to somebody like...
Is that why he didn't do more? Because he was lazy?
Well, I think he said he just basically took his money from his patrons, whoever were paying him to like live and to cook, and he just kind of floated through life and invented a few little things, but probably didn't max out his true potential. And up until, recently, probably felt like that was the way I was heading as well. Like I felt like, I do have a certain level of skill and talent and intelligence, whatever, blah, blah, but maybe I'm going to look back and think, should I have done more?
But isn't that always
so that's
the
the lesson.
perpetual curse, though, of always feeling like you're maybe not doing enough and just always feeling like I didn't leave everything out there. Like I still have a little bit left in the tank. Like how often do you go to bed and genuinely think like, wow, today I really worked. I couldn't do any more. Like I literally have nothing left to give.
I think that whole thought process is something which should be unlearned and it's a bit backwards. I think it's like you shouldn't be in bed thinking, did I put in enough work? Everything should be gut feeling. Everything should be like, I don't know. There's loads of different things. You shouldn't look at the amount or how hard you worked as the metric for success or that you had a good day. Like work harder, not smarter. There's no for me. There's no fucking
Smarter, not harder, you mean?
yeah. Sorry, smarter, not harder. There's no. It's not noble to fucking run yourself into the ground and be the last. People are the last ones in the office, just tapping on a computer, just not even like actually doing anything, just so they look like they're the last person to leave.
Yeah, it's the performative work. But I guess the flip side of that would be somebody would say, yeah, but I feel the most fulfilled when I know that I've like left it all out there. Like for example, if we're playing a football match and it's like, right, I'm gonna give it 100% and like knowing that when I go home, I couldn't have done more. Not necessarily worked harder, but I couldn't have applied myself and really given it my best shot. Not from a volume perspective, but from like an intention perspective.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I find myself going, yeah, I mean, I was there and I worked hard or whatever the thing is, but I don't really think I gave it my all. Not necessarily I worked 24 hours on it, but like I really had the intention to pour everything into it and then say, okay, it worked, it didn't work. At least I know I gave 100%.
Personally for me, sorry, personally for me, I won't do anything which doesn't feel like it has a purpose for me. I'm not just gonna work like this is like I could talk on a whole nother pod about all this stuff, but I'm not gonna ever do something for the sake of working or looking like I'm working hard. So for me, it's a bit of a difficult one because I will always put all of my work into something I'm passionate about, which is the only work I prioritize doing now.
Yeah.
So I can't really answer the question fully, I don't think, because I can't relate to, especially you coming from like a tech background and some of the stuff we were talking about, 996 and all this bollocks.
Yeah.
I cannot relate to it in the slightest. And I think that if you go to Europe, if you go to Italy or you go to Spain or whatever, and you realize the work-life balance is fucking so different to here. Like my friend lives in Barcelona. He realized going to work every day from Surbiton to London. He was leaving in the morning, it was dark, he was on this horrible train to go and sell something that he didn't care about, to come home, move to Barca, and he has the best life ever. I'm not saying everyone should do that, but I think that the running yourself into the ground is sensationalized or
For sure.
I just don't think that it's right. I don't think it's natural. I don't think that's what humans were put here to do.
Yeah.
I think you end up having you end up being in the slave mentality. You end up having no time or energy to create yourselves in your spare time. Like, I don't think it's right.
Yeah, well, so the whole hustle culture thing obviously has like a big detrimental impact on people in terms of like burnout and shit like that. But I would probably posit that we're working super hard recently on Phantom and we're putting in hours and days and weeks that have probably been more than we've done on anything else previously. And that's just because we're energized about it and we feel passionate about it.
Doesn't
And
feel like work.
exactly. It comes easy. You know, our Sundays and Mondays are pretty much stacked doing things because
flexing all day.
we're all together. And then
Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday are all absolutely stacked.
Yeah, exactly that. So you know, we are putting in like hard work on it, and I think that's probably the reason why it's starting to take shape a lot more. And then just to come back to sort of inspirations and people who like I would look up to in some regard. I mean, somebody like Steve Jobs, who made this $1 trillion company, he was a bit of a dick. He was a bit of an asshole, and he pushed people beyond their limit. He kind of broke his staff because he had this unrelenting vision of, okay, this is what this needs to look like. So there are going to probably be points in the process where, you know, one of us three is going to be putting pressure on the other guys to be like, no, we need to do this and we need to do that. And we're probably going to feel like, oh, bruv, kind of like fuck off a bit. Where you're kind of pushing a bit too much. But I think it kind of takes a little bit of a dickhead or an asshole to let you, to make something happen.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Because these big breakthroughs don't come from people who are just sitting about drinking tea and like working like 1 hour a week. It comes from bare graft and bare manpower and hours and hours. Like one song that I think has just been, it's such a sick song, is the song Power, like the Kanye tune. And he would talk about how these guys, it was like 40 people writing it and the production, and it took like 1,000 man hours to get the tune written and produced because so many people were working on it all at the same time. And we know, like, obviously Kanye's off the rails, whatever, blah, blah. He's probably in that Steve Jobs mold as well, where he's like, nah, you're here, you're in the studio for 16 hours and we're doing this until this is done.
Yeah.
But what came out of that is just like one of the best songs ever.
Yeah,
Like
sick,
that
but-
tune is just too sick. So I think there's going to be moments where it's like, yeah, actually, we probably do need to just mash this up for a bit.
Mayflower, I think to your point when you're like, oh, I wouldn't like quote unquote work too hard on something that I didn't really feel passionate about or didn't really care about. You go with your gut feeling. But I think that is the point. People listening might think, oh, that means Mayfly is like, he's really blessed. He doesn't have to work hard. He doesn't really work that much. He just does as and when he feels like it. It's the classic like creative where it's like, oh yeah, I'm a creative, bro. And I like, the guy actually does fuck all. Where actually, I think we do grind, and that like 996 mentality you were talking about, which for those of you who don't know, it's working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. That's like in the tech space. It's actually gone to, I think it's 797 now, where it's 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. But like you're shaking your head, and I agree. A lot of the people who are working that many hours are doing it just for the sake of doing it because everybody around them is doing it. But when you naturally fall into that flow of like, for example, yesterday and today for us locking in, we end up working like 10 to 12 hours. And that's actually 10 to 12 hours of work being done. And people would then look and go, why the fuck are you working that hard? Like, you're meant to be creatives. You're meant to really like have the work-life balance. But I think that balance, you only want a work-life balance when you don't really love the work or you don't really love your life and you want to like try to put more time into the other one so you can offset the negativity of the other. Whereas for us, it kind of just is work is life and life is work, and the work that we're doing, we do relentlessly. Like, I think that's the two. And just to everybody who's listening, I actually hate the tech space, which is why I got out of it, because of that mentality where you do see people just working for the sake of it. And like you said, staying in the office till late and then posting a picture in a group chat to let everybody know, like, wow, this guy was in the office till 2 a.m. It's like, yeah, well, go fuck yourself, mate. Like, you don't actually care about what you're working on. And that was a big wake up call for me to step out of that space, because it would be like you seeing a producer being able to produce for a week straight and make 100 songs, and that's his life, and you going like, that's not for me. Like, I could never actually love the work that much to put in that many hours. That was the same thing for me in tech. So
I think for me, like you said, the problem arises when people are doing it for the wrong reasons, or they're doing it just because someone else is doing it. There are instances where absolutely I agree that is the case, that should be the case. But if you're working for a tech company, which is already instilled, it's already been made, you don't have shares in it, why are you grinding, working for a salary? Like, I get it if you're building something, but from what I believe, you should work with maximum excitement. You should keep maximum excitement. So anything you're doing, you should do with excitement. And by definition, a lot of these people do not, because they have not got passion for it. It's just a case of...
it's a means to an end.
It's a means to an end. It's because their peers are doing it. They don't have creativity to think outside the box and just go, okay, my two mates have got a job like this. They're working these hours. I need to do the same. And it's unfortunate, I think.
The thing is, though, I think you're speaking from a position of privilege in two senses, and not saying it's a bad thing, but the reality is that not everybody in the world has a creative spark within them outside of maybe having kids, because I think that children is like a hugely creative process, literally, and also around it. But for a lot of people, they don't make music, they don't make films, they don't take photos, they're not artists, they're not painters, they just live. And the fact that you get to do, and we get to do, kind of what we're passionate about without having to be forced into a job to pay bills, that's incredibly privileged. Lots of people probably hate their jobs, but they don't have an alternative. They don't have a way to be like, okay, cool, I'm going to fuck this off and I'm going to do watercolors. Bro, I've got a wife, I've got kids, or I've got parents to look after, I've got a mortgage.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is exactly this is the problem with today's world. This is where we've been put, is that everyone, because of fear, won't create. Everyone, because of fear of, like you just said, I've got a mortgage, I can't do that. I've got to provide. I've got to do the job. That's not what we were put here to do. Human beings, we're not here to be slaves, to earn money, to pay a mortgage, to go cyclical like that. That's not what it is. So when you say position of privilege, yeah, absolutely. But I believe that everyone should be creating or doing some kind of art or doing something which they love and are passionate about. I think that's just so obvious. What are you doing if you're here on this planet and you're not actually enjoying your day-to-day life? If you're not enjoying the moment, each moment, then what is the point? People put this thing of like, I have happiness in the future. That's when I have my money and the mortgage is paid and my kid has grown and he's out of the house and I can retire and I've got that money that I've saved. That's when I'm going to be happy. Whereas that's so backwards because you're creating a situation where that day never comes because you've always put that in the future.
Yeah.
So then when that happens, there's always one more thing. Okay, so now the kids moved out of the house, the mortgage is paid, but my knees are fucked now. Or
there's always going to be a new problem.
There's always a new problem. Whereas if you make it your priority and not be so scared of the possibility of not being able to like buy a house or do it or fit into the mold of society, you are never going to have the energy or passion to do something which actually
can get you out
of that and to start enjoying your actual life. I'm telling you now, I enjoy every moment of my life now, and it wasn't like that for the last 10 years. That's I make it my priority to enjoy every single moment.
Yeah.
You know? And like
I just, you know, like, and obviously I'm bare happy for you and I'm like gassed that we're all feeling quite similar, but I just don't think that's how people feel. I just don't think that's the reality. And I think even...
What do you mean?
Like, that they can spend every moment feeling happy and feeling positive.
But that should be the goal.
That's the goal.
I even disagree with that. Like, I don't think necessarily our goal should be a state of constant bliss and happiness. Like, I think that's... You know, I think it's almost a farce. Like, even doing what we do now and we love doing it, there's moments where it's like, fuck, man, this particular part of this job is a bit tedious, but you just do it because
that's true.
It's a bigger picture.
Yeah, I'm. Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing my taxes and I'm like fucking like gassed. Like I'm not like, oh my god, this is the best time of my life. Yeah. But I do not complain. And I'm not pissed off doing it.
Yeah,
I guess it's part of life. It's not like, this is the difference.
So some people might go to work to a job that they hate and they're like, you know what? I accept it. This is part of life. And the reason why I do this kind of shit thing is because I know when I come home, I've got time with my kids. I know they're looked after.
Yeah.
My missus is good. My family are good. Yeah, cool. I don't fucking love the 8 hours a day that I'm at work, but everything else that I get from this kind of is worth it, and I think that's how a lot of people think. They're just
that's
like
completely fine.
Exactly.
That is, I think, that is admirable.
It's also exactly my point of what I'm saying. That is the mentality of what some people have. Is that right now is the boring bit, and when everyone's catered for, and
no, not even necessarily. I'm talking about in the present moment that they're like, my life is good overall. There's bad parts, which is like, I do a job which maybe doesn't fulfill me so much, but there's good parts too, and I take it as a net positive. I think loads of people look at it like that.
I agree.
And just again, one more time, like we are blessed differently.
Yeah, for sure.
To be,
I don't want anybody listening to think like, wow, these guys are so out of touch.
No. I'm just talking like, listen, we say we're blessed differently, but like, also
we worked for this.
Yeah,
we've worked for this, but also like last year was the toughest year of my entire life, you know, and you say we're blessed, but I have done so much internal reflection and work, and these last 10 years have all been development, and I can only say all of this stuff and this thought process because I've lived it. I've lived both sides and I've come to this conclusion. I'm not tricking myself into it. I have found a way of like hacking your brain. It is that simple. It really is. You can literally just
This is something that I said ages ago, where it's like sometimes you wake up and you're just in a bad mood, and you're like,
you can just snap
and you're
yourself
just
out.
like, fuck's sake. Like I remember when I was like commuting into the office and it's super early and I'm on the train and it's cold and I'm like, fuck, and I know I'm gonna be at the office for like 14 hours and then come back, and then all of these things, you obviously have reasons to be upset, but sometimes you also just are sad for no reason. And if you're able to be upset for no reason, to your point, you can just be happy for no reason. You can look at the positive side of things for no reason and focus more on that and say like, right, even though I am in a job that maybe I don't like, and this is, like you say, a means to an end, but there are still so many positives to look at in this scenario.
Yeah.
And once you shift that mentality from not a victim, but like, oh, woe is me, life is so hard.
Victim mentality,
Some people
absolutely.
do have shit going on in their lives where it's like, no matter which way you look at it, it is just a shit scenario. Like, there's no way to spin it into being like, well, at least it's like, no, it's just shit. But that's very, very few people. Most people, you can objectively look at it and say there is some things to be grateful for. And I think that's
There's always something to be
That's a
grateful
very important thing. And I remember when I was like journaling in the mornings and stuff, and it's like, write down 3 things you're grateful for. I always used to find that very difficult, and I'd find myself writing the same thing over and over because your mind is never really thinking about what even the minor things of like, wow, my arm works completely fine. Like I can bend over and touch my toes without my back like fucking me up. Like all of that stuff is
absolutely
minor that maybe you don't consider often, but there is that gratitude element for sure.
I used to have it, and this is exactly on your point. Is that okay?
Yeah, big
for
cool.
touching it.
It just,
You don't want to touch things.
I felt it. I felt the little thing inside falling. I used to have really bad anxiety. I don't really have it anymore at all. But one way it used to manifest is that I would go, and I'd have forgotten the thing I'm anxious about.
Yeah.
And then my brain would try and find it.
Yeah.
And then I'd go, what am I doing? Like, if I've forgotten the anxious thing, don't try and latch onto it.
Yeah.
So then in that same way, you can perpetuate positive thoughts. And the way the universe works with law of attraction and brain waves and whatever, like that, again, maybe Mayfly and the glue in the stew, I can get a bit more granular with this, but the way it works is that if you, for example, complain all the time, the universe hears that and goes, right, they want more things to complain about.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing around like if you are praying for courage, you need more courage.
Yeah.
You're going to be given the opportunities to be courageous, which means being put in scenarios where you're maybe feeling that pressure to be like, oh
Exactly
shit, I
right.
need to do something here. You're not just going to get courage. You're going to have to take the action to do that. If you want patience, you're going to be given the opportunity to be patient rather than just having the feeling of being patient.
People manifest. A good example is with money. People manifest and go, please, I'm so broke. I need money. I need money. So then the universe shows that back to you.
Yeah.
Oh, you still need money.
Yeah.
It's like, it's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of taking a big pivot here. Opblock, you're going to be pleased to know that we're finally getting around to your question. Opblock talks about vulnerability, sadness, and how this all ties into music.
What was this question?
So it's the broad idea of, in some of the tracks, there is a sense of vulnerability. There's a sense of like sadness coming through. So comparing Here We Go to Table for Two or Lament, how do you guys view the kind of more negative emotions that I think specifically for men like us, it kind of is stigmatized to be sad or be vulnerable or have that like side of you. And I think you guys are leaning into it quite hard in some of the songs where you are being very, very vulnerable and talking about sad experiences. How do you view that as a tool in the creative process, and what are your thoughts on sadness as it relates to music?
You want to, Shai?
I mean, it's like we were talking about earlier, that one project, like Love is a Drug, is it's a lot more like emotionally in tune, I guess. And for me, we've spoken about on pods previously where, sometimes writing is an opportunity to get feelings out or to address things that you've been feeling. And I think being honest and authentic is really good for me on an individual basis. And I also think that from the listener's side, they can feel that authenticity, and people want something real, especially nowadays where the whole world is fake and reality is manipulated and you don't know what's true and what's not. Like feeling as though somebody's just being honest is like, people enjoy that. And if we didn't write like that, if we didn't write songs that were a bit sad or a bit vulnerable, I'd feel like I'm missing out a huge percentage of what I'm going through or my life. And, you know, just now we were talking about happiness and privilege and what our lives are like. I think our music would be really boring if all it was just like, how amazing am I? How like good is my life? How sick is this? And I think a lot of rap is like that. It's very much like flex culture. Like, I've got this material thing, I've got this these women, or I've got blah blah, all this excess, and there's not a lot of the opposing element, which is that vulnerability and that sadness. But that is a reality too, which is why I think, you know, when we were talking earlier about, you know, feeling good all the time, like, yeah, amazing, that's it. But I'm sure there are moments where there is like something that hurts and there is like pain and discomfort, and you know, you draw on that through the writing.
Exactly. So this is you've brought me on very, very well. So on my previous point, it's not that I am by definition definitely happy all the time. It's that I know how to reposition my brain so that I am happy. So something bad happens, that's not, I don't take it as, oh, this bad thing has happened and I feel so terrible. It's like, right, what does this mean? Let's just look at this. Why has this made me sad? What is this telling me about myself? Everything, fear, anxiety, sadness, should be used as a tool to work out what it's saying about yourself. Why have I reacted like this, rather than why has this happened to me? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and basically pulling out the positives from within that.
But the initial part of that is sitting with the negative feeling, sitting with the sadness or the anxiety, feeling it, and then once you've sat with it, then going, okay, I'm clearly feeling some type of way. It's like you said, it's a feeling. You can't think your way out of the feeling. You just have to feel it, and then
you can transfer the energy.
Yeah, but it's still through a feeling. You're not going to be like, I'm feeling sad, I'm just going to think of something happy and now I'm happy. It's I'm feeling sad. Okay, let me try process this. Where is it sitting in my body? What is that? And then you can connect the feeling to a thought and, like you say, try to rationalize and understand, wow, that really made me feel very like anxious. What does that say? Let me try unpack that. But I think some people might have heard that and immediately gone, oh, as soon as anything bad happens, just forget about it and try to go to something happy. Whereas actually it's the opposite. You lean into the sadness, you lean into it and try to understand why it's happening. And then you can, from there, come out the other side of it into something that's positive.
Yeah, but like, it's hard to explain, but like in my brain, even when stuff like that happens, my brain skips out but tries to skip out the sadness part and just goes.
So how do you make songs that have like how do you make your beats that have this like pain in them? Do you know what I mean? Because I hear some of the beats and I'm like, fuck man, this is like, I need to write something which is there's like a hurt here, or there's like a discomfort here.
Yeah,
or
it's being able to tap into those things, but it's not letting your emotions master you. It's you being in control of your emotions and tapping in when you need to, you know? So like, I can still put myself in the headspace of some of the most emotional times, or it's less like I'm really sad, I want to make something sad. It's like, let's use this energy. I clearly have got energy from somewhere, whether it be negative or positive. Let me use it. Like, the best way I can describe it for making a beat is actually just using the channeling is me just using production to distract myself. And then I end up, because I'm not thinking about it, because I'm naturally, so I've reacted to something, or that's just naturally what pours out. It's hard to explain, but like that's, yeah.
But I think something I clocked there is like the language is quite important as well. It's not I'm sad, it's I'm feeling this sad emotion. I'm not defined by the negative emotion, but it's something that is part of me. And it's like, instead of it being a dominant factor, it's What's the opposite of? Like a smaller factor. Than,
Yeah, it's
than-
dominant
Yeah,
and smaller.
yeah, dominant and smaller. Like that, but that's the point. Like
What is it? Recessive?
Yeah,
that's in like
maybe.
genes.
Yeah,
We're talking about
exactly.
biology.
Submissive, but that's
Yeah, but that's
also
not right.
quite
Dominant and
Yeah.
like minor. It's not. Anyway, the point is, it's a small fraction as opposed to like a large fraction. Fucking hell, that's so. It's a small bit rather than a big bit.
Minority.
Yeah,
rather
the
than
minority rather
majority.
than the majority of the emotion that you're feeling.
And just I think just to finish off this particular point about like vulnerability and sadness, particularly for men, and the whole like, oh, you know, we should like let your boys cry and like let them express themselves and stuff, and like
No, when your boy cries, you should laugh at him.
exactly. No, but what I would say is, look, I'm definitely not here to tell anybody how to live their life, whether you're a man, woman, whatever. If you feel as though you need to feel your emotion and cry about things and get it out there like that, do it. If you think I'm going to bottle it up and then I'm going to go to the gym and I'm just going to mash it up at the gym and that's going to make me feel better, fine. Or like hit the bag, like cool, whatever. Go party, drink beer, cool, whatever. Me, I write songs, cool, whatever. Like ultimately, there is no right or wrong way to live life.
I would argue
I'd
though, that by
argue drinking, yeah.
drinking your way out of feelings is probably
It's-
en masse is not the best way to approach it.
I'm with you, but who?
But I'm not here to judge anybody for that. Yeah,
Exactly that. Like, who am I to tell you that the way I live my life is objectively right or better than yours?
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
Or like for any one of us to be dictating to other people, like, yeah, we believe this.
Yeah.
We feel strongly about this. Hopefully, people see value in that too.
Yeah.
But there might be somebody listening who's like, bro, I don't write songs. Like, for me to be vulnerable and sad, like, how am I supposed to deal with that? Bro, just deal with that in whatever way you think is best. Take the advice of people that care about you. Lean on people that are close to you. But ultimately, especially as a man, I think agency is really important, and being in charge of your own life is important. And actually, fuck what anybody else says. Do what you think is right. Like, live your own truth. innit?
I would just be careful, on the side of caution with that, and just say, like, I think objectively drowning it with drugs or alcohol or whatever is bad,
Yeah.
and they shouldn't do that. Like,
Yeah.
if anyone wants any help, like I had a little bit of a problem with alcohol, and I've completely clean now. So like, talk to me. But that is one of the worst things you can do, I think, because you're then in a vicious cycle.
I think this ties into a broader point, which is kind of like the theme of the year, other than it being the year of the Phantom. It's the year of unteachable lessons. There are some lessons that you can't express to someone. They just have to go through it. Like, somebody might have a dependency on alcohol, and then you could tell them, like, yo, bro, like, just stop drinking. Like, you know it's bad for you. And they will look at you and say, yeah, I know. But they won't be able to make that change until that change is driven from within.
Yeah. You have to go through
it's an
the
unteachable
journey
lesson.
yourself. Yeah,
In
absolutely.
the same way that your boy might be in a toxic relationship with a girl and everybody's telling him, like,
You have to
man,
learn the
this
hard
is
way."
fucked, and you know it's fucked. And they're like, yeah, but, you know, I love her and she loves me or whatever. And then a year after, they're like, yeah, I just had to go through that. Like, you were completely right, but I needed to see it for myself before I would be able to process that. I think it all ties back to, like, this, people need to go through the shit for themselves to then come out of the other side and be like, oh, I actually really resonate with what Mayfly said, or what Grade really said actually made sense to me. But it'll only make sense in retrospect once you've generated that for yourself.